right, Miss Aurorah is back. Yes, I told you all secured entrepreneurs that Miss Aurorah is going to come back with the Magickal Cash Book. Yes, in this video, we're getting into the Magickal Cash Book. And as all of the secured entrepreneurs know, and Miss Aurorah asks for everyone to keep an open mind because we're enjoying life, we're having fun, we have respect for everyone's beliefs, everyone's spiritual practices, everyone's religious practices, and we are just getting into metaphysics the way that we like. That's all. And as always, I'm so grateful when all of the secured entrepreneurs send emails. Thank you for emailing. Please continue to do so at info@aurorahdayconsulting.com and commenting on the videos. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, okay? I want to welcome you to 3 a.m. Shenanigans. All right, the Magickal Cash Book. How many of the secured entrepreneurs are familiar with Damon Brand's work? This little 49-page book just might be a life changer for many of you, okay? So he starts off the book letting you know his history, who he is, why it is you need to create a Magickal Cash Book, and what the Magickal Cash Book can actually do for you. So let's get into what he starts to tell us about himself. So here he's giving us the secrets of magic. I have been using magic since I was 12 years old, and I've used just about every system and idea you can imagine. A lot of magic worked, a lot didn't. Some magic felt amazingly real and powerful, but brought no tangible results. Other kinds of magic felt like they couldn't possibly have worked, but brought great results. The work presented in this book contains my insights into the magic that worked best for me when I was still young. I know it has worked for others. It can work for you too. It continues to work for me today. We've taken the simplest and most powerful systems and streamlined them into a series of steps that get money magic working for you as fast as possible. The Magickal Cash Book works with a spirit called Natika, who can bring wealth. As many people have found, Natika is an amazing spirit, easy to contact, who brings fast cash. But let me just say this to the secured entrepreneurs. Now, many of these secured entrepreneurs who have worked with Miss Aurorah personally and who work with Miss Aurorah online, okay, from a distance, we have many spiritual talks. And I work with a lot of secured entrepreneurs who come from many different religious backgrounds, many different spiritual backgrounds. And so as I read all of these books and I practice some of these things, mainly out of curiosity, I want to know, do these things actually, how do these things actually affect an individual spiritually, right? So this particular energy that Damon Brand is referring to here, he refers to in, I haven't read a book by him that he did not refer to Natika, but in my research, that energy has been found in a lot of the ancient spiritual texts, a lot of the ancient spiritual writings. So it's very, very interesting to me. And I'm sure in one of his books that I've read, he discusses how he came about learning and working with Natika. So as we're reading this, and if you decide to purchase this book, you will see, or any of his literature, any of his books, you will see that he talks about this particular energy that he personally works with. I do not know how it will work with other people. I don't call on Natika in my rituals or in my prayers or anything like that. So I just want to throw that in there. Natika is neither an angel or demon, but is thought of as a genius spirit or personified virtue. Natika is a very gentle yet powerful spirit and is listed as one of the genii of the 12 hours in the Noctimeron, attributed to Apollonius of Tyana from the 1st century AD. Natika was made known to English readers through a translation by Eliphas Levi in his 1897 book, Transcendental Magic. The magic of Natika has been around for a long time, but remains relevant and workable today. How many of the secured entrepreneurs have read Transcendental Magic? If you did, then you would be familiar with Natika, okay? I want to get into some of the things that he writes towards the beginning of this book before he gets into talking about himself. All right, what can this book do for you? Magic can make you a lot wealthier than you are now. How wealthy you become is your choice. You can attract a small amount of money just once and leave magic behind forever, or you can keep using magic, adapting your life to build wealth. Whether you want to get emergency cash or build a strong financial future, the Magickal Cash Book is a powerful method for generating reasonable amounts of money on an ongoing basis. This small, simple book is easy to make. Essentially, you buy a notebook, cover it in symbols, and perform a simple ritual to give it power. Despite the simple method, you can attract cash in a short length of time. The book takes a few minutes to make and charge, but then it works wonders. It's well known that many famous occultists of old died in poverty. So why have I written a book on attracting money with magic? We now have more knowledge and experience, and when certain conditions are met, magic works, and it works well. It is easy to satisfy these conditions. I need to show you that money magic can work, and it can work easily and powerfully. How much money can you make? It's important to remember where you're starting from. If you're in poverty, I will not promise that you'll be a millionaire. I will not promise lottery wins. I will not claim that you can attract undreamt of riches. To do so would be to lie. And I don't want to trick you, so I will tell you the truth. I spent some time in magic forums a few years ago listening to people talk about magical results, and I was astonished to see people getting excited about attracting an extra $100. Some were even glad to get just $20 through magic. This surprised me. To me, $100 is a small amount of money. On a good day, I could earn that in a few minutes, so why spend half an hour doing a ritual to attract such a tiny sum? But then I remembered that when I was poor, in my early 20s, I would have been just as impressed by $100. The money I make even today would not impress somebody much wealthier than me. $20,000 might be impressive to some people, but to a multimillionaire, that amount would not seem quite so impressive. To a billionaire, it would seem trivial. This is why it's important to compare your magical result to what you had before. The point of this is to make sure that you recognize the gains you make. If you are extremely poor, magic can make you much wealthier, much faster than you expect. If you are rich, it can make money you never dreamed possible, but each person has their own starting point. Magic builds on your starting point. How much do we love that? Magic builds on your starting point. Now I want to get into one of the things that he talks about is the lottery. Now, you all remember the last book was seven occult money rituals, something like that. Okay, by Mr. Archer, right? And I told you in the last video that Sammy started doing those rituals and he actually won $30 in the lottery for the first time. Okay, so Mr. Archer had feels a way about that. Mr. Brand has his own take. So let's hear what he has to say about the lottery. A word about the lottery. If you want to win the lottery, that's quite normal. Most people do. But if you're serious about making more money, I'd advise you to give up the lottery altogether. When you give up gambling, you're sending a message out to the universe that you trust that money will turn up. That is way more powerful than hoping for a win. Also, I have to be upfront and say that most people find magic doesn't work for lotteries. Magic is only one way of influencing the world. And when you enter a lottery, you are up against the powers of random effects and astronomical odds. Even the strongest ritual will struggle to change the way those numbers fall. A more successful approach is to use magic to guess the correct numbers in advance. I like that. That way, you're not trying to influence the fall of numbers itself. You're merely trying to use magic to select the right numbers for yourself. Magic is more fun than a lottery win. When you see money conjure its way into your life on a regular basis, you don't need a lottery win. When you feel comfortable with that, the magic will work even faster. All right, the secured entrepreneurs need to comment on that, because we know a lot of lottery players, okay, who actually win and win multiple times. They are probably not doing any rituals. They probably are not praying about it, but they are on the frequency to gain a lottery win. Okay, comment below if you know what frequency the lottery is on. Hello, secured entrepreneurs. Okay, let's talk about actually creating the cash book. So here's what Mr. Brand says about making your book. Making your magical cash book. Buy a notebook. It's that easy. You can spend hours making your own notebook out of fresh parchment, gluing it together with traditional binding methods, but it's far quicker to buy a notebook. It will work well. If you can buy something that looks or feels vaguely magical to you, so much the better, but it isn't vital. Ideally, there should be no lines on the paper, but again, it's not vital. You should paint the front cover gray or silver and paint the back cover orange. You can stick on card or paper if it's easier. You can do this using cheap paints and a basic brush. You can get what you need at an art shop or just look for something cheap around town. Nothing fancy is required. The only problem you will face is that it may take several coats of paint to cover up the writing and logos on the cover. If that's what it takes, then keep going until all you have are clear gray and orange covers. A shortcut is to glue white paper or card onto the cover of your notebook and then paint that. Or use colored card or paper. It doesn't have to be too special. The inside of the covers does not need to be colored. You may have 1,000 questions about the notebook. What size, what style of binding, what weight, and so on. Really, you don't need to worry. So long as you have a notebook of some kind with pages to write on and a gray cover with an orange back cover, the magic will work. Right now, he's going to get into how you're going to prepare your book for the spirits. Now, remember, Ms. Aurorah has told the secured entrepreneurs that sigils does not work for me in this lifetime. None of this symbols and all. Oh, but they may work for you. They're working for a whole lot of people. So here we go with getting this book together. Preparing your book for the spirits. On the front cover, you will need a copy of the following sigil. It can be drawn by hand, photocopied, or printed out from the website. Okay, look at this sigil. Okay, look at this sigil. There is no way that I would be able to draw this by hand. Another artist would be able to do it. So I would suggest that you go to the website and print off this sigil. And it's such a beautiful sigil. I mean, and you know, I'm so tempted to try this once again. I don't know. I love the way they look, but it just never worked for Miss Aurorah. Okay, but I think it's just absolutely amazing. All right. So he's telling you that this is the sigil that you will need on your front cover. Okay. He goes on to tell you all about how to, you know, put the book together, design the book, and all of these things. Right. Okay. So copying the Hebrew words might take some practice if you're not used to writing in Hebrew. Practice on blank paper first, but even if you make a bit of a mess, it doesn't matter because you will soon perform a brief ritual that dedicates the book to Natika. If you cannot copy exactly, don't worry. If you get the basic shapes of the letters right, it will work. And if you prefer to print out or photocopy, that is also fine, but it does help if you then take the time to draw lightly over the image with a pencil or pen to connect yourself to the shapes and images. You do not need to be able to understand the various divine names and words of power, so long as you can see them. On the orange back cover, draw or glue a copy of this sigil. Now look at this sigil. There was no way I was going to be able to draw this sigil, okay? So again, I would say go to the website and copy, print out the sigil. And he goes on to say, this should again be drawn using black ink, pencil or pen, or feel free to use a printout. Once again, if you use a photocopy or printout, take the time to trace over the lines lightly with a pen or pencil. Well, maybe Miss Aurorah didn't do that back in 2014. I don't know. But I like all the sigils. I like the front cover sigil with all the Hebrew words of power too. I sure do. All right, now we're going to get into the real juice. He starts telling you how to charge up this book. Okay, here are the instructions. Open your book, and on the first blank page of the book, write the following words of power. Na, ka, e, I, o, a. I'm really tempted to do this again. I'm telling you, oh boy. These words of power are a statement that means it is your will to recognize God. And this gives you the authority to work the magic. Once you have written that down, say the words out loud. They are pronounced as follows. Na sounds like the English word ah with N at the front. Ka sounds like the word ah with K at the front. E sounds like me without the M. Ah is the word ah. O is the word O. Sounds like yeah without the Y. Accurate pronunciation is not important, but I know people worry about it. So I'm making it clear now. There's a typo here. I'm making it clear now. Okay, I'm making it clear now. Remember that a bold and confident attitude is far more important than correct pronunciation. You've now built your magical cash book, and all you need to do is empower it. Then you can begin to write your petitions in the book to manifest money. Whoa. Here we go. Empowering your cash book. In the following empowering ritual, you will use the name Natika. There are two main ways to pronounce this, so use the one that feels easiest to you. One way is to say ni-ti-kar, where you are literally using the English words ni-ti and kar. A second pronunciation is ni-ti-ka. Again, you use ni and ti. Ka sounds like banker without the band. For a third pronunciation, you can make ka longer so that it rhymes with ma or pa. For this pronunciation, ka is just like ma, but with a C instead of an M. Again, use your intuition when choosing one. For the rest of this book, I will use ni-ti-ka. But you can substitute it with the other pronunciations. They all work. You should also learn to vibrate the name, which is just a fancy occult term for letting the word really rumble out of you. When you speak, let the name come up from your belly through the back of your throat. Make it feel as though you are giving birth to the word as you speak, rather than just whispering it. If this sounds puzzling, imagine how an actor would say a magical name in a horror movie. They would let it rumble from deep within, almost gurgling through their throat in a deep roar. Weirdly enough, Hollywood has it right, and it helps to be this dramatic. Whatever type of voice you have, try to let the name of Natika rumble through your throat. By vibrating the name in this way, it has much more power. The same is true of all magical worlds of power used in this book. And maybe that should be words instead of worlds. It could be a typo there as well. The rest of the ritual can be spoken normally, but all the words in capitals should be vibrated as above. Okay, so he goes on to give further instructions as to how to now empower the book. Okay, now he's going to start telling us how to use the book daily. Okay, your magical cash book is now ready to attract money. When you actually use the cash book, you will need to read the words of power out loud. These are traditional Hebrew words rendered in a form that is easy for English speakers to work with. The words of power used in the ritual are all divine names. The words are Eye, Ioe Elohim, Ioe Eloah, Vadath, Shaddai, El Chai, Adonai Haaretz. These words have been used in magic for many centuries, and don't we know that to be true? They are an encoding of divine authority. Although they may look difficult to say at first, they are quite easy to pronounce. The pronunciation of these words, as shown in the ritual, is he ye, I o e l o him, I o e l o a va da art, shad I elk I, Adonai Haaretz. The pronunciation is simple, but in case you need more guidance, this is a detailed look at each word of power. He is the same as yeah without the Y. He is the word he. Yeah is just like the word yeah. E-I-O-E-L-O him. He goes on to give you other names and pronunciations. So now let's get into how you're using the book to attract money. Using your cash book to attract money. Now that your cash book has been empowered, you need to learn the basic ritual for using it. Here's exactly what you do during the attraction ritual. Number 1, perform this attraction ritual once a day at any time of the day. If you miss a day, it's not the end of the world, but aim for 11 consecutive days. This shows commitment. If you show commitment, so will Natika. If you don't find the time, why should Natika bother? If the money burns up before the 11 days are over, you can end the ritual, of course. If the money turns up. If the money turns up before the 11 days are over, you can end the ritual, of course. Number 2, sit in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Open your book and vibrate the words Naki, E-I-O-A, over and over until you feel a sense of calm come over you. If you need nothing, don't worry. Just stay relaxed and move on to the next step. Number 3, close the book and gaze at the sigil of Natika on the cover. Think of the amount of money you want to create. Most importantly, think about what you'll do with this money. See the next chapter for precise details on this point. When you've got the feeling of the money you want to attract, vibrate the name Natika 3 times while looking at the sigil. Number 4, open the book and vibrate Naka E-I-O-A 1 more time. And then read out the first part of the invocation, starting with Natika, Natika, Natika in the name, using the pronunciations that you have learned. When you get to the small circle that you drew, stop. Now, we didn't go over the small circle, because that's part of the empowerment of the book. But let me go on to the next one so that you see that. Number 5, turn to the next blank page in your book and write the amount you want to attract. In this example, it is $50, but you should choose an amount that's right for you. Write $50 and put a circle around it. Use the same page each day, adding another circle each time you perform the ritual. If you use a different currency, write down that currency. After 3 days, it will look something like this. So he's showing you what it will look like. When you put your amount of money on the paper, you make the circle around it. Number 6, now turn back to the first page and read everything that follows the small circle, starting with I command thee. Number 7, when you have finished reading, close the book, put it away, and do something else. All right, so Damon Brand just let everyone know how to create this magical cash book using the ancient Hebrew words, names of God, and this particular spiritual energy known as Natika, all right? So I want the Secured Entrepreneurs to let us know who first of all has the book, who has already created their magical cash book, and what results you had. Also, if you plan to purchase the book and start getting into your spiritual rituals, using these ancient Hebrew names and things of that nature, So Miss Aurorah is going to be back because you all are asking about unincorporated associations versus trusts and things like that. So I've got a bunch of videos to get up. So hopefully after I wrap up today, I will be able to record some other videos for you and have them up this week as our community is growing. Okay, so please like, share, subscribe, and let's keep going, because we got a lot of big things for 2023. All right, so that's all Miss Aurorah wants to share with you all in this video. Okay. So you all know you can find me, Miss Aurorah, at AurorahDayConsulting.com. And until next time, ta-ta.